Welcome back. How is meditation, right? Sometimes challenging, sometimes easy. Don't make yourself wrong for it. Remember, this is another meditation video, but this is really to understand the only reason we meditate is not to silence our mind, but to notice our mind. Have you ever had the experience when you've gone through a breakup and you're like sitting on the ground crying your eyes out? And there can be this splinter for a moment where you notice that you're upset, like you're in the upset, crying and hitting the ground and hitting the pillows and then being really upset. And then there's a moment of time where you notice you're upset. And sometimes that moment of time where you notice you're upset might be when you're talking to your friends and you're, in a bitch mode of like, I can't believe she broke up with me. I can't believe he did that to me. And then your friends reflect back, yeah, there's something wrong with him or whatever. But in that moment that they reflect that, it's almost like you take a step back and you kind of step back and go, yeah, there's something wrong. But as soon as you do that, you're not in that lamenting like you were a minute ago. That is the beginning to becoming what's called the observer. What the hell do I mean by the observer? The observer is the part of your mind that can observe your thoughts. Eckhart Tolle is really famous for speaking about how he felt suicidal, wanted to kill himself. Then he noticed he wanted to kill himself. But as soon as he did that, he knew he was not the one who wanted to kill himself. That sounds really weird and existential, but it really isn't. It's to notice that you are not your thoughts, which is the whole purpose of meditation, is to observe the thoughts, not to silence them, not to push them away, not to make yourself wrong, but just to observe them. So in this meditation, we're going to heighten the observer. The observer practice is really, really helpful, if not pinnacle, to working with what's going on in your life. Now, just in terms of developmental stuff, you need to understand the observer doesn't start to kick until the age of 20 to 25. And if you have kids or remember your own childhood, you probably remember being a teenager and being a bit of a jackass and, doing dumb things. And then you hit 20 to 25, you start to wonder, why did I do that? That wondering as to why I did that isn't typically there when you're a teenager, which is why people find teenagers so hard, right? But it's that observation of why I'm doing that. That observer, as you can see my hand if you're watching the video, it's like you can see yourself. It's part of the neuroscience development that occurs between 20 to 25, 25 to 30, somewhere in there, but usually 20, 25. Now, whether somebody uses that observer or not is not the issue. The issue is that it's there. If you're older than 20, 25, you already have that muscle where you can see, oh, look, I was a piece of shit. Oh, look, that was really nice of me to help that woman cross the road or whatever. That observer is a really important tool. But we're going to practice it right now. Go and close your eyes. Once your eyes close, just go back into your breathing. Take a long breath in. Take a slow breath out. Take a deep breath in. Take a quiet breath in. Now, with your eyes closed, think of where your mind is. Most people perceive their mind to be in the brain. Wherever you perceive it to be is cool. Take part of that mind that's thinking and place it on the ceiling. And from that place in the ceiling, see yourself. So it's almost like I put a camera that's in your mind and put on the ceiling. And from that focus on the ceiling, look at yourself. Notice your body language. Notice what you're wearing. Notice the positioning of your feet. And notice your breathing. Maybe notice your thoughts. Now, from that observer, go further out to the moon. So take the observer that's on the ceiling and put that focus from the ceiling onto the moon. Now see if you can see yourself. You see planet Earth with all the beautiful ocean. You see the continents spinning. And out of nowhere, you see yourself. Notice how small you look. Notice how tiny your thoughts are. Now take that observer and put it onto planet Jupiter. And see yourself. And just breathe. Just breathe. Keep breathing. Keep breathing. You may begin to notice how small you look, how inconsequential your thoughts are. And you may even notice a subtle relief in your body as you're doing this. Take a few more breaths. And when you're ready, start to come back to your physical body. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, and open your eyes. I love it every time I do that. And actually drop in and do it. I see how tiny I am. I see how crazy my thoughts are. So I really encourage you to practice as we get closer to working together, because the observer is a really fundamental tool in self-development. Because when you can see you're doing something with your thoughts, then you can begin to shift and change that. What happens is our mind is connected to our nervous system, is connected to our body. So we just believe we're this crap. When the observer comes in, you can see, oh, look, I'm addicted to the future. And then observing it gives it like a subtle release to it. And then when you work with me, I can teach you how to shift that. But the observer is essentially like a muscle. And the more you practice that, the more you harness the muscle to shift it. Fun? All right. Lots of love. We'll see you next time, next video.